Even when life feels unstable, there is still a place you can stand firm. Welcome to HisTime365. Today is day 157, and Psalms 31 through 33 reminds us to trust God as our refuge, our forgiveness, and our source of joy. Trusting in troubling times. Lessons from Psalms 31 through 33. Have you ever felt overwhelmed by life's challenges, wondering where to turn? The Psalms can be a comforting refuge, reminding us of God's faithfulness even in our darkest hours. Today, we're diving into Psalms 31 through 33, exploring the themes of trust, deliverance, and the joy of worship. Psalm 31 opens with a heartfelt cry for help. The psalmist feels surrounded by troubles both from within and without. He begins by declaring his dependence on God, stating, "In thee, O Lord, do I put my trust," in Psalms 31 verse 1. This sets the tone for the entire psalm. The writer seeks refuge, knowing that God is a fortress. It's a beautiful reminder that when life feels like a storm, we can find shelter in God's presence. In verses 9 and 10, the psalmist expresses deep anguish. He feels like his strength is fading, much like a candle flickering in the wind. Have you ever felt that way? Maybe work stress is piling on, or family responsibilities are overwhelming. It's natural to feel drained, but we're invited to bring our struggles to God. When we're tempted to give in to despair, we can remember that God is our source of strength. Then in verse 14, there's a shift. The psalmist proclaims, "But I trusted in thee, O Lord." Even amidst the chaos, he chooses to trust. This is not just a passive waiting, it's an active decision to believe in God's goodness and sovereignty. Think about how this can apply to your life. Perhaps you're facing a financial challenge or dealing with uncertainty in your job. Trusting God doesn't mean we ignore our problems, it means we acknowledge them while holding on to hope. In the latter part of Psalm 31, there's a beautiful declaration of God's steadfast love in verse 21. The psalmist reflects on how God has been a refuge, praising him for his kindness. This can inspire us to express gratitude even in tough times. For instance, when the bills seem to mount up and stress levels rise, we can pause and thank God for the little things, a supportive friend, a sunny day, or a moment of laughter with family. Moving into Psalm 32, there's a shift in tone. Here the psalmist speaks about the joy of forgiveness. He shares how confessing sin brings freedom from guilt. Blessed is he whose transgression is forgiven, in Psalms 32:1. This is a powerful reminder of how God's grace works in our lives. Imagine carrying a heavy backpack filled with rocks representing our mistakes and regrets. When we confess, it's like shedding that weight and finally feeling light again. The psalmist encourages us to seek God while he may be found, reminding us that he is always ready to listen. In everyday life, this could look like turning to prayer instead of social media when you feel anxious or overwhelmed. Instead of scrolling through news feeds, we can scroll through our hearts, bringing our cares and burdens to God. Psalm 33 brings us into a moment of praise. The psalmist calls us to rejoice in the Lord, emphasizing that God's word is powerful and true. He spake, and it was done, in Psalms 33 verse 9. This is a reminder of God's creative authority. Just as he spoke the world into existence, he can speak into our lives. Maybe you're feeling stuck in a relationship or career. Remember that God has the power to change situations, and we can trust in his timing. The psalmist also reflects on the greatness of God's love for humanity. This love is not just for a select few, it's universal and all-encompassing. It reminds us to be inclusive and generous in our love toward others.
In our digital lives where it's easy to be divided, let's choose to spread kindness and understanding instead. Finally, the psalm concludes with a beautiful affirmation of hope. Our soul waiteth for the Lord. He is our help and our shield, in Psalms 33, verse 20. This echoes the sentiment of relying on God's protection. In today's fast-paced world, it's easy to rely solely on our own strength, but true security comes from trusting in God. As we reflect on these three psalms, let's remember that life might throw challenges at us, but we have a faithful God who listens and cares. Whether it's trouble at work, tension in relationships, or personal struggles, we can turn to Him in trust. In every trial, remember to trust God. He is your refuge and strength. How can you actively practice trusting God in your daily life? In what ways have you experienced the joy of forgiveness, and how can it impact your relationships? What are some practical steps you can take to express gratitude even during difficult times?
Thanks so much for joining me today for HisTime365. Remember, today's reading is Psalms 31 through 33, so be sure to spend some time with those verses during your quiet time. Tomorrow, we'll be diving into Psalms 34 through 37, so feel free to read ahead if you'd like to prepare. If you enjoyed this time together, don't forget to like, subscribe, and tap the bell so that you never miss a day on this journey. I'll see you back right here tomorrow for day 158. Until then, stay encouraged, and thank you for giving God His time today.